Ooh, one more thing.
We have a feeling you will never be done with us.
Probably not. Comparison. How we come out in the world and we have certain feelings about ourselves. And the society presents to us what the perfect image might be, either physically or whatever. And I find myself oftentimes in comparison with what I see around me. Well, if only I had that, or if only I looked like that, or if only this
All right,
happened,
now as you do that, what is the feeling that comes forth in response? Does that make you happy?
No, absolutely.
Then don't do that.
Okay. You got it.
The reason we're wanting to bring it back around to that is because, see, it's easy to understand how you got there. Now, let's talk about this. This is a very big issue. So you said, I will go forth into this contrast and I will evaluate it. And out of it will be born a new idea, a constant stream of new ideas. Then very often our physical friends say, well, Abraham, wouldn't it be better if there were not all that contrast that we get stuck in? And we say, you knew from your non-physical perspective the power and the importance of that desire being born within you. In other words, that is everything. The new idea being born is what it is all about. And you did not feel any risk or worry because you knew that you had within you a guidance system that was going to let you know in every moment whether you were using this examination of the contrast and not allowing the energy to flow. Your inner being, or the non-physical you, evaluates contrast, as you do. But the difference between your inner being and most physical human beings is that the non-physical part of you sees contrast and concludes the yes from it. Yes, 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 this is my preference, this is my preference. While in your human experience, often you see the contrast and you conclude the no. No, I do not want this. Now, the reason that we believe that so many of you get fixated on this no is because you have forgotten that the universe is attraction-based. And you also have not been very consciously aware of how energy feels when it flows through you. In other words, instead of being aware, as you intended when you came forth, to notice how you are feeling so you would be aware of whether you were allowing the energy in this moment or not, what most of you have trained yourselves to do is look at the manifestations. And so as you see manifestations that please you, you say, well, we will vote for those. But if you see manifestations that don't please you, you say, we've got to do something about those. And what happens is, as more and more people are focusing on these things not wanted, there's a war against drugs, a war against cancer, a war against AIDS, a war against crime, a war against all kinds of things. As more and more of you focus upon these unwanted things, you shine a spotlight, you become a vibrational match to them, you invite or include more of them into your experience, which gives you all the more reason to want to push against them. And so your societies become those that believe that you can push hard enough against something not wanted and you can obliterate it, but that defies the law as we know it to be. So now what we are giving you is we're wanting you to begin once again to create from the inside out. In other words, rather than trying to get a consensus from the crowd around you about what's the right or the wrong thing for you to do, or the way for you to look, or the way for you to be, or the job for you to have, what you're wanting to do instead is to realize that you and all of them too can only make the decisions that are appropriate for you based upon your individual alignment of energy. Right. You know that you are really an allower. In other words, letting it in. When you are able to allow those who are in the moment not allowing you. In other words, when it does not matter to you what they think about you. When you are no longer wanting to modify your behavior or your appearance or your action in order to please them, because they have no way of knowing the appropriateness of what you are about, you see. So just one thought at a time as you reach for the thought that feels best. So you ask yourself, which feels best? To see them as idiots that don't know what they're talking about, or to see them as those who just don't understand? What feels best?
Those who don't understand.
What feels best? To cater to their desire, even though I know it's not right for me, or to just trust that they'll get over it?
Trust they'll get over it.
What feels best? To understand the way the laws work and teach through the clarity of my example, or try to stand on my head in all kinds of different ways to distort the law in the way so many others are doing it?
The first one.
What's the best thing that I could do for anyone? Align with source energy and live happily ever after, or scramble around and try to be all things to all people, only pleasing one or two of them every now and again?
Align with source energy.
And so that's what it's all about. You began here by talking about wanting a greater sense of worthiness and wanting a greater sense of self. And the only thing that we can give you about that that will be really helpful to you is to say to you that your inner being adores you. And when you hold any thought that does not feel like that, you've deviated from your course. When you are appreciating yourself or others, you are in perfect alignment with that which your inner being is about. But when you are finding fault in yourself or others, you are not in alignment with who you are. In other words, sometimes people will say, well, what is the perfect vibrational energy? Or what might I do here in my physical realm to be more like my inner being or more like my God self? And we say, appreciation is the closest vibration that we feel from your physical countenance that matches that source energy. So just play it a little bit at a time. When you find yourself looking at yourself in some comparative way and coming to the conclusion that you are inappropriate in some way, and you feel that negative emotion, stop in the middle of it and remember what that is. The negative emotion that you are feeling in that negatively evaluating self is the discord between what you're concluding right now and what your inner being knows to be. And so you stop and say, well, I know what I don't want. What is it that I do want? And little by little, you will come to adore yourself in the way your inner being adores you. And when that self-adoration is well practiced within you, then it's so easy for you to attract to you other people who want to adore. If you're running around feeling broken, then you attract others who see the same, or you attract fixers of broken things. And none of those relationships are very fun.
No.
Well, in the beginning, sometimes it is soothing to have someone say, oh, you poor thing, you are broken, let me soothe you. But before you know it, you wake up and you don't feel broken, and they're still standing there. They need you to be broken. That was the basis of your relationship, you see. And so what you're wanting to do is get into this place of feeling very good about who you are. And as you said, you do it so easily relative to that and relative to that and relative to that. You know how to do it. Feel your way through it.
Okay.
Good. Be easy about it.
I will.
You are done.
Complete. Thank you.